When you're hunting for a laptop that can actually handle a serious gaming session without turning into a brick, the temptation to grab the cheapest gaming-ready machine you can find is strong. I've seen too many friends splurge on a budget model, only to watch the fan spin up like a helicopter and the frame drop once the game pushes past a few hundred frames. The regret that follows that feeling of being stuck with a device that can't keep up makes you pause and wonder if there's a smarter way to spend the money. That's why, before I dug into the MSI WE63 8SI 239, I asked myself, does this laptop actually deliver a balanced experience, or is it just another overpriced shell? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the market for gaming laptops has become a bit of a minefield. On one side you have ultra-thin notebooks that brag about a sleek chassis but barely push past low to medium settings in modern titles. On the other, there are monster-sized rigs that tank your backpack and run your battery down to zero in 20 minutes. The MSI WE63 sits somewhere in the middle, aiming to give you a desktop-level graphics card and NVIDIA Quadro P1000 while staying within a 15.6-inch form factor that you could actually carry to a coffee shop. It's not a typical gaming GPU. The P1000 is really a workstation-class card tuned for CAD and content creation, but it still packs enough CUDA cores to handle many current games at 1080p with decent settings. If you're the type of gamer who spends a few hours a night on titles like Valorant, Fortnite, or Apex Legends, this machine will feel comfortable. In my own testing, the i7-8750H paired with 16GB of DDR4 RAM kept those games above 60 frames per second on medium to high presets. The laptop's 94% NTSC display, while not an OLED, offers fairly vibrant colors and good contrast, making dark environments in horror games still readable. That said, the panel isn't a high-refresh 144Hz screen, so if you're chasing the smoothest competitive edge, you'll notice the 60Hz ceiling. For a lot of players, the trade-off feels reasonable, especially when you consider the price point is far lower than a full tower with a comparable GPU. Heat is where opinions usually split, and the WE63 doesn't shy away from the reality of a 6-core, 45W TDP processor. The laptop's aluminum chassis does a decent job of spreading the heat, but under sustained load, say a Marathon Assassin's Creed Valhalla session, the fans kick in aggressively. You'll hear a noticeable whine, and the laptop's surface will warm up noticeably around the hinge. If you plan to game in a quiet environment, that fan noise could be a distraction. However, the noise level is comparable to other laptops in this class, and it does a good job of keeping temperatures in check. The CPU stays around 80°C, and the GPU hovers near 70°C. In short, expect some audible fan work, but nothing that feels broken or out of control. Keyboard feel is another practical point that often gets glossed over in spec sheets. MSI uses a full-size island-style keyboard with moderate travel, which feels solid enough for long gaming sessions. The keycaps have a slight texture, reducing finger slip during rapid inputs. If you've ever been frustrated by the mushy keyboards on thin ultrabooks, you'll appreciate this. The downside? There's no perky RGB lighting, and the backlight is a single white zone. Casual gamers might not care, but aesthetic-focused users who enjoy syncing lighting with their rigs might find this a minor letdown. Battery life is always a compromise on gaming machines. The WE63 packs a 52Wh battery, and when you push the system for anything beyond light indie titles, you'll see roughly 3 to 4 hours of unplugged play. In real-world terms, that's enough for a quick session on a train or a short commute, but don't count on a full evening without a power outlet. The laptop's power brick is bulky, so you'll have to plan your charging strategy if you're traveling. For someone who expects a laptop to double as an all-day workhorse, the battery limitation is a clear signal to look elsewhere. Portability is a subtle strength of this model. At just under 2.2 kilograms, it's lighter than many competing laptops that house larger GPUs. The aluminum shell gives it a premium look without the bulk of a typical gaming notebook. If you often move between classes, co-working spaces, or gaming nights at friends' houses, the weight and size make it feasible to carry without feeling like a workout. However, the laptop's thickness is still around 22 mm, so it won't slip into a slim sleeve without a little jostle. Now, who should buy this? If you're a gamer who also dabbles in 3D rendering, video editing, or other workstation-heavy tasks, the Quadro P1000 offers dual utility gaming on the side and professional workloads without needing a separate laptop. Students in engineering or design programs will find the GPU's drivers optimized for CAD apps, which can be a hidden boon. Likewise, anyone who values a solid keyboard,